Hi.
Hello, happy Tuesday.
How are you?
Doing great. How are you, Yvette?
Pretty good.
Good. Recovering after our fabulous English paper piecing virtual retreat.
I had so much fun this weekend. How did you find it? It was your first retreat ever.
It was my first retreat ever, and I had a blast.
Yeah.
I will be the first to say that I am not the most social person. I'm more of like an indoor by myself cat.
You're an introvert.
Very much an introvert through and through, which is weird because people don't believe me because I do these live shows for both Gotham and Tiny Apple. But yeah, boy, I am an introvert through and through. How about you, Yvette? How would you describe yourself?
I think I'm like maybe in the middle, like right in the middle between introvert and extrovert, but like slightly more introverted. Like I couldn't go out every night. Like that
Okay.
it would I would collapse.
But some nights you would, right? Some nights you do.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I hardly leave my apartment, so I guess that really points to introvert. But then on the retreat, I was like talking for an entire day. So who knows?
Yes, indeed. Well, that is fabulous. It was so great to meet so many people who are interested in English paper piecing. We are very excited for our next retreat, which, if you were on the retreat, you know what it is, but we're going to keep it a secret for just a little bit longer. We're planning our next retreat, and it's going to be a great one. You don't want to miss it. But I'm really excited to talk about what we have to talk about today. I'll start with a little bit of the housekeeping things. I know we generally end the show with an update as to how we are getting along, porting the Gotham website with products that are coming in new to the shop. We are still working on that. So I'm thinking maybe just a few more weeks and we will have that ready to go. So we just thank you for your patience and understanding. And just know we've got some fabulous things coming in to show you. So we can't wait for those to be available on the Gotham side too. Um, but what we're here to talk about today is something that I can guarantee you might have one or two in your sewing room. There are very strong opinions on all sides of this particular topic, and we are here to demystify, debunk, give you our opinions and the things that we've seen and all the wonderful things that we have the option to work with. We are talking about, drumroll please, marking tools. We've got piles and piles of different marking tools. So that roughly, what is your opinion? What is your take on marking tools?
So um I always recommend that people use chalk because it's the least likely to not come off your project, which is of course the biggest problem with a marking tool is that what if it doesn't come out? And you don't have to use like school chalk. You can buy a chalk pencil like this so that you can sharpen it. But if you do use school chalk, they actually sell sharpeners for school chalk so that you can make a smaller line because school chalk is like way too thick for marking normally. Um, I also used to sell a ton of this marking tool. This is a three-color graphite. I think it's graphite. No, it's ceramic. The tip.
Ceramic pencil.
So it has white, black, and pink in it, and you turn it to change the color. The best thing about this is that I only have to find this one thing, and I have three colors in it. So if your sewing room looks a little like mine, and you might not be able to find your marking tools in the right color, if you just have this, then it covers you for every color that you might need, whether it's light or dark, right? And this does have a little eraser on the outside, so you can easily erase it. The other big tip I always told people is that if you're using a heat erasable one, this is a friction pen. These are perfectly good marking tools for lines that are going to either be sewn on or cut away. So if you're marking the outside of your EPP and you're going to cut the mark away, no problem. If you're marking the diagonal on a half square triangle, this is a great use for this pen. If you're marking quilting lines, this is a bad use for this pen because there is a small chance that your lines can come back. Usually you use an iron to erase these. They're heat erasable, so we all have irons. So we use, when we press it, it takes the line away. But it doesn't actually take the line away. It's not like the heat is dissolving the ink. What the heat is doing is it's making the ink transparent. So the ink line is still there, it just isn't visible anymore. I've heard some like tragic stories of people shipping quilts to quilt shows usually, and if they use this thing on a visible mark, the the quilt landed at the show and it had a bunch of lines on it.
They came back.
Yeah. So
They came back.
friction is great for non-visible lines. Don't mark your quilt lines with it.
I will please allow me to serve as a cautionary tale. This is not tragic by any stretch, and I was going to wait until the end of the show to bring this up, but I have my own example of using a friction pen on the front of a thing. I got real lazy one night and thought I'll just draw my quilting lines and iron. This isn't a quilt show item. This is
Right.
just for display. But what I found, it was on this guy right here. So if anybody's from Tiny Apple and you've seen this, you know my dirty little secret. In that down here in the water, I used a friction pen to do my quilting. And we'll go to the overhead. We'll try very hard to see, but I'll point it out so that you can see. This is a Figo space dye fabric.
Yeah, I recognize the fabric. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very soft, and I had a lot of these bias edges that I needed to sew. So I quilted, or I starched just the crap out of this. I starched the dickens out of this guy. If you see, and what I love about the space dye is it makes it a little bit hard to see. It blends in, but I drew
Oh, I see that
lines.
line. Yeah.
You see it, right? There's a couple, and I can point out every single one to you.
So you use the friction pen for that?
I did, because I got real lazy and I didn't want to go find the right pen. I just grabbed what I had and I'm like, it'll press out. I
Ken, are
blame
you
the
helping
starch.
us? I keep
Sorry.
suddenly being gigantic. So what color was the friction?
That's a really good question. I think it was purple.
And somehow you ended up with white lines?
The color of the ink came away, but the white remained. And I thought, oh my gosh, maybe it's just an indent. Nope, this is actually truly white ink.
That is terrible.
I still love friction pens. I just want to go on the record as saying I still love them. But Yvette, to your point, you've got to be real careful what marking tool you are going to use on the front of a project.
Yeah. I wonder
I will
if
say,
you wash this, if it would come out.
probably. I mean, the chances are pretty good. This is just a little sample that we worked up for the shop. This is not going to be in any competition by any stretch.
Yeah.
It's fine for what it is.
Maybe
I
just
happen
like hand quilting on those lines so that it looks intentional.
could do that. I really like the wavy lines for the water. You know,
Yeah.
it's one of those things nobody has, at least everyone has been very kind and no one has said anything to me, but I know it's
Good.
there.
Yeah, quilters are usually lovely people. They're not
They
going to be
are.
like, oh, what?
Yes. One of my favorite things from the retreat this weekend is if you can't see it from the back of a galloping horse, it's not important. And if I have to point this out, you can't see it from a galloping horse. But I happen to be holding the marking tool that I should have used for
Yeah.
this one. And that is a Hera tool.
Yeah.
This is my favorite marking tool because whenever you're doing something on the front, you want to be real sure that those lines are going to go away. With a Hera tool, how it's designed to be used is you've got, I'm sure it's somewhere, I've got a blade here that kind of comes to a point, and I'll get it on its side so you can hopefully see the point here. But I've got a sharp side here, and I've got a sharp side here. What I can use is this particular blade to mark my fabric. And I'm going to use some scratch fabric so I don't make this worse. But basically what I do is I use this to draw my line. And it's going to be almost impossible to see on the camera, but I can very clearly see it here based on how the light hits it. But what I just did is I made kind of a crease. I made a little indent in my fabric. Oh, actually, you can kind of see it when I hold it like that. And then if I'm quilting, for example, all I have to do is follow that indent. And then I love to use my walking foot with the little measuring stick. If I want like an inch apart, I'll just use my first line that I use my ruler to draw and the guide on my walking foot to make those evenly spaced so I don't have to draw a whole bunch of lines.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So this one is actually my favorite marking tool, the Hera tool.
And you never have to worry about it coming out because you're not even drawing something, right? You're just
Exactly.
You're,
Yep. And by the time I
right,
stitch
you're
in
like,
that line that I drew,
yeah,
by the time I stitch in that line that I drew, you don't even notice it anymore
right,
because your thread naturally makes a little divot.
yeah. So actually, this is probably the safest. Safest. I always say that chalk is the safest, but this is even safer than chalk because it is possible for chalk not to come out. In particular, Taylor's chalk, like the pink little triangle. I've had people tell me sometimes it doesn't come out. So yeah, this can't not come out because you're not even. It's not a mark, you know.
It's not a mark. Yeah,
Or
it's just a little dent.
what's the right word? I don't know what the right word is, but because it is a mark, it's not a substance.
I mean, it's not a chemical mark, right? It's not.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what the right word is.
Yes, indeed. So if we're talking different kinds of chalk, so the Hera is probably the safest tool. If we're talking different kinds of chalk, there are so many out there. One that we sell a lot of in the store is the Clover Choco marker.
I like that
And
one.
what this is it's a little vial filled with loose chalk. And then you have, please ignore how dirty this is, but you can tell how much we love it. You have a pointed end and at the very tip, a little wheel. So you can get a pretty precise placement of the chalk.
And it's nice and thin.
It's nice and thin. Do you see how, yeah, I guess you kind of do. If you squint, you can see just how thin that line is.
And I have it in pink.
Perfect. The white I love the best because it is the least chance of something being left behind, some dye or something.
Yeah.
So if you're marking the front, this one, you can kind of see, I could probably do a better job of brushing that away. But it's more or less gone.
While we're talking about chalk, we should mention that you should never iron over your chalk marks.
Never.
Remove the chalk marks before you press. Just in case. It's probably fine, but it might not be fine. So don't, and that's true for other marking tools too. Like if you have a water erasable or whatever, do not press over the marks that you made, or you might make permanent marks.
Yes. And we do not want accidentally permanent marks.
No.
The other thing that's great about this is you've got this nice fine point. You can use your ruler to get exactly where you want. It just kind of sits in the little crease there from your ruler. So a nice straight line with the Choco. There's also chalk pens like this. This one has a much thicker point. So it's a 1.3 millimeter, I think is how they measure it. And this is just, it's not designed to be refillable, even though it looks like it might. But it's just kind of like a mechanical pencil, but you've got some pressed chalk in here.
What's the brand on that one?
This one is Soline.
Oh, Soline. Yeah, they make great tools.
They absolutely do. And so you can see this one comes in white, pink, and blue. This one is a little harder to get out. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. But you can treat it the same way you would like the ceramic pencil. And I'll screw this off. This has an eraser on the back, and it is designed to also be erased. This one, I don't know, Yvette, if you can see, there's a lot of lights going on here, but there is some
video,
there is some left. It's not exactly perfect. So this is definitely a back of your project thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about the chalk. Yvette, you have a different kind of chalk pencil, don't you?
Oh yeah. So these are known as, I'm gonna make myself bigger so I can.
Yes, Ken will take care of that.
So this is known as an ultimate marking pencil, and there's a specific manufacturer that makes these. These are compressed chalk that you can actually sharpen. There's no like outer, it's not like this where it's like a pencil with a chalk inside. It's literally made of chalk, and then you just sharpen it as you work. It becomes shorter and shorter and shorter. one of our old employees was obsessed with this. I think this is mostly used by garment sewers and not quilters, but she, for whatever reason, loved this tool. So we had picked this one up. And what I like about it is you can sharpen it, so you can make the point the same width that you want. And this is like an erase kind of an erase. This is a very sticky kind of a chalk. It's like it has some kind of thing
Like
that
a
keeps
binder?
the chalk together. Yeah, exactly. So it'll last longer than like a school chalk kind of a chalk on a mark, because sometimes you want, in general, our marking lines are temporary, but sometimes that temporary can be a little longer, right? So chalk can be a little dangerous to use for longer projects that need the marks to stay longer, because as you manipulate the project, the chalk is just like flying off. So this lasts a little bit longer.
Yep. And with that, you said there's no outside, so like it's not like a pencil where you've got the wood outside.
It's just
Does it
plastic.
get on your hands? Okay.
No. Look.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how they did this. It's like, I don't know, glued together or something.
There's a lot of things in quilting that are kind of magical.
Yeah. Yeah, I had never even heard of this. And she was like, oh, we have to get these. Yeah. All right, back to your screen.
Oh, sure. We've talked about friction pens. They come in all sorts of colors and I think even widths. There's basically thin and then a little bit thicker. But really, this again is designed to go away, to disappear with either a little bit of rubbing. So like there's a kind of a rubbery end on this that you can use if you need to just erase a little bit. Or the best, easiest way is to take your iron, give it a little bit of heat, and then the mark goes away. We've already been through the things to watch out for with the friction pens, but they are so very handy if you are tracing around template pieces, if you are marking the back of half square triangles. They are really handy, and sometimes you can get some really fun colors.
That's Andrea's favorite one. Yeah, if she had to pick one, she would pick this one.
Yeah. Another one that's kind of like a this is another Sewline product. No, I'm sorry, this is a Clover product. This one is a two-ended pen, and on the one side I've got a pink marking.
Yeah.
So I've got my mark there. And then this is either air erasable if you let it just sit for a bit. They say 4 days. If you're not going to use it in 4 days, it's probably going to be gone by the time. But that is very much dependent on humidity, where you are. There's a couple of things that you could do to make this mark last a little longer, and that is protect it from air. So put it in like a Ziploc bag or something, or just use it in the 4 days. But if you want it to go away sooner, there is an eraser end. And so you just take that end and go back over where your mark was, and there you go.
And is it just water really on that end?
So it is not just water. It is something else.
Huh.
Yeah, it's some kind of proprietary something or other.
I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, there's another version too that's kind of similar. This one is by Sewline, and this one is actually two different pens.
Okay.
Same concept. You've got a marking pen and you've got an erasing pen. This one is kind of nice because it's all together.
And you only have one thing.
Exactly. I've got about 3 of these eraser pens that are kicking around and none of the marking pens. Yeah. So
completely understand.
If you're better at keeping things together, this might be a good option for you. Yeah, so this one is kind of cool. You get the best of both worlds, an air erasable, and if you want it to go away right away, you've got the eraser side of it. We also have something kind of similar. This is a water-soluble marking pen. Okay. And this one is not chalk. It's some kind of a waxy marking tool. It says it's water soluble. It's something less than that.
Oh, okay. So if you like spray water on it, it doesn't disappear?
I think you'd need a whole ton of water. And even then, maybe a little bit less so. So this is another one, great for the back, great for Yeah.
Do you know
Do you
this
have
one?
something similar there?
This is a Mark Begon. I do not remember what the brand is, but actually I think that might be its like trademark name, Mark Begon. And this is water erasable, but it does go. It's just like a spray of water on with a spray bottle, and it goes away. I think technically this is air erasable, if you wait long enough, but use the water to make it go faster.
Gotcha.
And maybe don't use it in the swamps of Florida because the mark's going to go away before you want it to.
Yes. You got about 5 minutes on that one if you're in Florida. Okay. And then I will say, maybe lastly, is my favorite marking tool, and the one that I can guarantee we all have, and that's just a regular number 2 pencil.
What?
Yes.
No.
The Hera is my favorite. The pencil is my second favorite.
I feel like that's a risk, a regular number 2 pencil. What if it doesn't come out?
You're not going to do this on anything that you're quilting, that's for sure. This is always so. My store manager, Colleen, who we will bring her on to a Gotham Live very soon, kind of summed it up, I would say quite nicely, is whenever you can, limit the marking that you're doing. If you do have to mark it on something that people aren't going to see.
Yeah. Yeah. And like when I teach with quilting, I never like people's impulse is to mark like every line that they're going to quilt, but that's not how you mark a quilt, right? You mark registration lines and then you use those to do your quilting. So I always was like, the more marks you put in, the more marks you have to take out. So who wants to do extra work?
Not this gal.
No one. So your favorite is the Hera marker followed by a number 2 pencil.
Yes, this is by far my absolute favorite marking tool.
Yeah.
I will let you in on a little secret. I don't often mark like half square triangles, or if I'm doing flip and stitch corners, I will use registration on my machine. So either the 1/4 inch tape or the Sew Steady grid. I don't want to mark if I don't have to. And I do everything I can to not have to mark.
I completely get that, because it's another step. It's the same thing as like, do you pre-wash or do you like who wants
do you starch all that stuff? Yeah.
Oh yeah, starching. Yep, I get it. I think the one I use the most is probably the 3-color one, because of the reason about I can find it and therefore I have 3 colors. And I think if I was gonna say a favorite, it would probably be the water soluble one. But I think it might just be because this is the one I started with. So this is like the one I was used to using the most.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, we sold a ton of this chalk pencil. Because I think people do trust chalk a lot, but the inability to make a sharp line with school chalk is solved by having it in the chalk pencil. So I think that's part of why the worst part about this tool is if you drop it on the floor, the chalk lead cracks.
Oh.
So then when you go to what's the word I want?
Sharpen it.
Like pieces of and it's like such a waste, right? So if you buy this, be careful not to drop it on the floor a bunch of times.
Good advice. Good advice. But I think that even though it is very fragile and you don't want to drop it, I think that solves what scares me about like a chalk pencil like this, where it's more compressed, or the sticky one that we were talking about earlier, in that I want it to go away.
Oh yeah.
And I want it to go away easily.
Right. And like with this pencil, if you just go like this, it comes off.
Yeah.
So that's the same for the Chaco liner. You just go like this and it comes off, or regular school chalk. I do not honestly remember if, you know what, I'm going to do it. A little piece of fabric.
You think you might have a piece of fabric around?
Yeah, who knows, right? This is like making a very big line. Can you see it? Maybe not.
Yes, it's kind of a loud head.
It doesn't come off. It needs like a lot more effort to get it off. So that's either good or bad, depending on what you need, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Now what we can with an eraser. See what happens.
Well, let's see if that works. In the meantime, producer Ken is going to put the QR code up on the screen. Like I said, we are still working on seeding the Gotham site. But until then, if there are any marking tools that you wanted to take a look, or if you wanted to try any of the ones that we have shown on the show today, do head over to Tiny Apple. We've got all of our marking tools up there, and soon they'll be available.
You guys carry so many. Like we had maybe 4 different kinds. I think you have like a dozen.
We've got a marking tool for every quilter, whatever you need for the moment. And that's a really good point of it, is the same marking tool is not always going to work for everything.
Right.
I would never use a Hera tool to draw on my half square triangles, for example.
Yeah, that would never occur to me as a use for a Hera marker either.
Right. Just like I will never again use friction for my quilting lines. You just got to have the right tool for the right job.
You want to make that mistake once.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Although it does, I mean, like I'm growing to love it. It's like, oh, it's just some extra texture in the water, right? These white
water
lines.
usually has straight lines, parallel.
Come on, don't ruin it for me.
I think you should hand quilt along though, and then it'll look like intentional.
Intentional. You know what? I'm saving up for a sashiko machine, and so I'll do it then with the big stitches.
This starts a whole different conversation.
It sure does. So we would love to hear what your favorite marking tool is. I did hear some support for the number 2 pencil, so I do love and appreciate that. Plus, you're going to have it handy. Every house has a number 2 pencil.
Yeah, that's true. Do you think there's a difference between, because you have like a lead pencil, right?
Mechanical, yep.
Do you think there's a difference between like a yellow number 2 pencils versus the lead version in terms of it coming out?
I think there is, this is all personal preference, in that this was the one that I have handy, but I kind of like the regular yellow number 2 pencil, because you can sharpen it and get a nice super thin line. This one is just kind of, it is what it is.
What it is, yeah. And this conversation made me think about, we're mostly talking about marking for quilting in all of the conversation we had. I had people always asking us about marking for embroidery. It's a whole different animal when you're marking for embroidery. And in general, people are going to use a marking tool that'll wash out. So they'll like finish their project by soaking it in water, and then the lines go away from that. Problem with that is sometimes you soak it in water and your thread bleeds. So I was always trying to teach people to err on the side of not needing to wash your project at the end, because then you're reducing that possibility at the end, right? But you definitely don't want to mark your embroidery project with an air soluble, because it's going to take you a while to embroider it, and there won't be any marks left by the end of it, right? So you want something that is going to stay on long enough so that you can manipulate, so yeah, it's a slightly different animal for embroidery.
That's a really good point. And I would also say that these are not marking tools identified for garment sewing. There's probably there's some overlap, right? But you might need a different tool for that. This is really just mostly quilting, I would say.
Yeah, so tailor's chalk is like the main one for garment sewing, but don't buy the pink one, buy the white tailor's chalk. And also, if you have tailor's chalk that's like 30 years old, throw it out and buy a new one. The old ones don't come out as much as the new ones do.
Yes, indeed.
People often for garments will make marks with thread. So they'll like stitch through the pattern into the fabric to make the mark, right? So yeah, depends on the kind of mark you're making.
Indeed. Yes, indeed. And I would say these sew line pens, they are actually called tailor's pens. So if you're looking for that tailor's chalk in a pen form.
Chalk, right? Yeah.
This one's chalk. Yep. Yeah. So it's going to have those same properties as the tailor's chalk, just in a pencil form.
Someone just commented that they've seen some people use a sliver of soap to mark, and that's a very old school marking. Usually comes from garments. But again, be careful, because if it's like a pink bar of soap, that also can sometimes not come out. Because the thing we always forget, I think, is that every fabric does have some kind of chemical processing, especially if you haven't pre-washed and you haven't washed the sizing off of it. You have no idea whether whatever random thing you're using to mark that particular cut of fabric is going to react. Which also brings me to something we haven't said out loud, which is that every time you start with a new project and you pick your marking pen, do a little test in like a hidden part and just make sure that it's going to wash out. Even if it's a pen you've used a million times before, especially if it's like fabric from another manufacturer that you've never tried before, or you like bought it on Spoonflower or on Etsy, or like you don't know where it came from, just do a little test on a piece that won't matter if it doesn't wash off, and then you know that you don't have to ruin your whole project.
That is really great advice. No matter how many times, give it a test. It'll save you so much heartburn.
Yeah, just a little test. Barbara's asking us what the difference is between friction pens and color sticks, except I don't know what a color stick is. Do you?
Yes. So a color stick is a kind of friction pen. And
it's like a line.
Yeah, Ken is just going to run and grab it. So we've got the friction clicker pens, which are pretty popular because it's just like a regular clicking pen, and it absorbs or retracts back into the pen. The color stick is made by Friction as well, except for it's got a cap on it. And this, oh no, we're back to the scene of the crime. I think this is the pen that caused me heartburn on my printing or on my quilting, but it's a capped pen.
Okay. So I have this kind of friction pen, which also has a top. Do not ask me what the line is for this. We used to call these just friction pens.
Yeah. This one is
a little bit of a ball. This is a friction ball.
Okay. So we've got like the ballpoint pen. This one is a little bit of a finer point than this one. This one is a 0.7. Oh, actually, they're both 0.7. This one just feels finer than this one, even though they're the same size in theory. But yeah, so a lot of people like the cap because you've got it enclosed. I've heard that these ones have a tendency to dry out a little bit because
they would dry out faster. Yeah. We just got maybe the funniest comment we've gotten in a long time. Look at this comment. How did you know about the tailor's chalk I bought at Woolworths 30 years ago?
I feel like Sandra spent a lot of time at Woolworths.
I mean, I used to go to Woolworths and just the crafting part of Woolworths was my favorite part, right? But I inherited a pink tailor's chalk from my mom, and I'm sure it was older than me, right? So this is why I bring it up, because this actually happened to me, and the pink didn't come out.
Oh, goodness. So yes, please do learn from our missteps.
Yeah, usually you only make that mistake once, but let us make it for you.
Exactly. We're happy to do so.
Yeah.
Yes. So any last words on marking tools, chalk?
If we didn't cover your favorite marking tool, leave us a comment and tell us what it is. And maybe you'll introduce us to some new thing that we've never seen before. There's so many options on the market that you can ask any number of quilters and you'll get any number of different answers for sure.
Indeed, I can guarantee that. Yes. Well, it was fabulous to talk marking tools with you, Yvette. I think this is one of those things that sometimes gets overlooked, a little under the radar. We talk about flashy things like new fabric lines and projects and kits, but the good old marking tools, they're the staple.
I do like getting nerdy about like little teeny details, so this is fun for me.
Indeed, it has been a blast. A couple of the housekeeping things we'll finish up here. We have, let's see here. We talked about marking tools. Producer Ken, do you want to put that QR code up one more time, just in case you didn't have the opportunity to scan onto that? That will bring you over to the Tiny Apple site where we've got dozens and dozens of different marking tools for your perusal. I'll also put another little pitch out there for Stitch Lab. We are very excited to see the membership of Stitch Lab growing. It is a fabulous community. It's one of those things, the more the merrier, and so we would love to have you along. Stitch Lab is kind of like a guild, but not quite, in that we bring the fun parts, we bring the challenges, we bring the community to Stitch Lab, and just have a lot of fun along the way. I will say, if you're interested, this one is very community driven, and so the people who attend are the ones who pick the challenges, and I'll use that loosely. You can adapt them to whatever kind of stitching you do, whether it's embroidery or I would love to have a knitter or a crocheter.
That
That's
would
a
be
kind
so
of
much
stitching.
fun. Yeah.
It would be great.
Any
Or
kind of stitching is welcome.
any kind of stitching. So we'd love to see you. Consider joining. And our meetings are, help me out of it. They are
Second
this
Thursday of the month, 7:00 Eastern time
Thank you.
at night.
At night, yeah.
Not-
We
if you're
also
putting
have.
them at 7 in the morning. No one
It
will.
could be. Not this gal.
No
Not
one.
this gal. We also have our.
Dog wants to say hi. Look.
Well, hi, puppy.
Hi.
Are you excited about Stitch Lab?
Yes.
I think she is. Nice. We also have our next thread talk coming up. This is going to be with Meg Cox.
Meg Cox, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very excited to see her talk. It is 400 years of quilts with a click of a mouse. Love her blog, her newsletter, and can't wait to hear her talk about this. This one's going to be a great one. And last but not least, this is probably the last time I'm going to mention this one, and this is the pre-order for Jen Kingwell's book, Gathered.
Oh, that's coming in, right?
It is coming in very soon. So if you've got your order in, you are set. If it is something that you're interested in, click on the QR code or scan the QR code. Just look at the pictures. I promise you that is going to convince you what a fabulous book this is. The quilts are gorgeous. The food is delicious. It looks delicious. I was going to say mouthwatering, but I hate that word. So I'm not.
Also, yeah, I mean, you are talking about food, so mouthwatering is an okay word to use. I think it's so weird when people say that and it's not about food. So like mouthwatering quilt, and I'm like, it's a little odd. Yeah.
Well,
or
sometimes you
chaise lounge or whatever, right? Like, no.
That's weird.
Yeah.
You need to get your mouth looked at, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Something's up.
Yes. So that brings us to the housekeeping. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel. That is going to be Tuesdays at 6:30 right here on either YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're watching us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. We'll see you at the next one.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night. Over. Yep. There we go.